Hello and welcome to Journeys in Fandom, or also known as Journeys in Politics. Woo!
Oh, yay!
Yay!
Seems like only last week we were here.
Mark? Yeah, because it was only last week we were here.
It was, yes. I have to confess that the schedule has beaten me. I have not released last week's episode yet because life got in the way. So, yeah, Doctor Who is slowly beating me this year.
Oh, dear. But is it beating you in a good way or a bad way?
Well, it's just stuff. It's stuff. So that episode will come out.
Yeah.
And then this one will come out. So we might be a week behind.
Yeah.
It won't matter.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so this week's episode of Journeys in Fandom is a double header because we had local elections.
Oh, yeah.
And we like politics. So we're going to talk about it. We don't care if anyone else likes it, but we do.
Where's me Nigel background? Oh, I think I got rid of it. Oh, I've got rid of it. Oh, mind.
It's for the best. People will talk. I'm concerned that 1 week I'm going to log on and you're going to be there in the Farage was right t-shirt or something.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So for those that are not aware, we had local elections on Thursday this week.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone voted reform.
Yep.
God help us.
Yeah, I think it was coming. It's been coming since Christmas.
Now, do you think it's a protest vote against the established parties, or do people actually like reform?
I think it's a bit of both, actually. I think you're genuinely right. I think there's a protest vote because no one wants to vote Tory because they haven't got their act together and everyone still remembers. And Labour are ridiculously unpopular. Someone said in the press it's the fall from grace has happened. They haven't seen that happen as fast. But even when they won, people were saying, well, they only really won because the alternative people weren't voting for them. But I think in certain areas of the country, people generally are, for whatever reason, they are liking what the party has to say, what they stand for. And you could argue that's like the Trumpism thing is the establishment isn't for me. This is the alternative. Even though he's well entrenched in the establishment.
Yeah. Well, that's a joke. He is the establishment, but he's going, oh, I'm not the establishment. You're going, oh, actually, mate, you've been a politician for how many years?
Yeah, more so than Trump, where he came completely from Farage, been a career politician for years and years. Anyway, that's it. I think there's the two reasons. They're the two reasons.
Well, I found it recently when I was messaging Tim, I said to him, I've seen a Nigel Farage video, and I went, I'm an old lefty, but I can see it making sense, and I felt dirty and wrong. But I'm just going, the man is talking sense, and I hate every second of it.
Yeah.
But again, it's just this kind of populist view, and you go, you're evil incarnate. But yet occasionally you go, oh no. Ugh.
Yeah. And I
hate it.
I think unfortunately they are I suppose a lot of people say they promise a lot, but actually will they deliver? So this is going to be the first test, is can all these people deliver? But it's interesting because where I am, they swept the power in the council. And there was one criticism. The criticism was, well, all these. It's a double-edged sword. They said, well, all these new councillors coming in haven't got an experience. And I thought, yeah, fair enough. But then all the people that I remember seeing, these people have been councillors for years. It's the same faces every time, and you can look at it and go, actually, what's wrong with having fresh blood? Regardless of their political views, park that for a second. You've got these career politicians, these career councillors who have been there for decades, who, yes, they know what they're doing, but are they just part of the system? and now they're so entrenched in it that they won't have any new ideas because they are just part of the system. So I can see getting new faces in there, younger people as well. And when I'm talking younger,
Mm.
these people are like 60s, in the 60s and 70s. These new people are coming in, got some new ideas, and they might actually make some difference rather than it just be this entrenched kind of the same old folks doing it year after year after year.
Do you think that the career politician should simply be nailed on the head and go, actually, if you win, you can do the old president's two terms thing?
Mm.
Would the abolishment of career politicians make politics better or worse?
Well, if you look at our friend across the pond, that is one of his big
Mm.
thing, the swamp thing. It's those people that are part of for the system and part of the system. And his argument is, well, I've come in and I want to change that, and they won't let me change it because they are the system. And logistically,
Mm.
it'd be a bit of a nightmare if you could only two terms. But in the same thing, it would work that if you had elections, that's 10 years, isn't it? So
Mm.
realistically, as someone could say, right, yeah, and then every 2 years, it would have to be a rolling 2 years, wouldn't it? It would
Yeah.
get a little bit messy, people dropping out, but that's how they do it now. When people resign and retire and stuff like that, they just replace them. So if they knew it was coming, I think, yeah, because the career politician thing is, granted, there are people who are selfless and they are there to serve
Mm.
the people and of their constituency, but then there are others who are using it as a stepping stone to get into higher positions, to get more money, and ultimately the whole sleaze thing, it's all messy. And it's
Mm.
like Labour and all these free tickets that they were getting, all the free suits and stuff like that. And a lot of them, they all look, all the powers that be in Labour look really miffed when people complain about it, as if it's part of the job. Like, oh, we get this because it's part of the job. No, it shouldn't be part of the job. It doesn't matter who you are. You're getting freebies when people can
Mm.
barely afford to feed their families, and you think
Yeah.
it's a privilege. And that's why it gets me. It's all this. There's a whole bubble of mainly London-centric
Or
stuff.
the alternative is you go, actually, guys, you can be a politician, but that is your only income, and
Mm.
you're not allowed any external income at all. You're not allowed to invest in anything, and no freebies.
Because MPs our MPs get loads. How much is it? MP
It's like
salary.
80,000 odd.
Which I suppose if you look at jobs in London waiting, you could understand it. But then they have two. Yeah, we go no, £93,904 as of
Christ, it's gone up.
April 1st.
Yeah.
So plus they get all the extra bits having travelling and all that kind of stuff. So it is a lot
Mm.
of money.
And you get like an allowance for local
Oh,
accommodation, all sorts.
yeah. So
But
there's all sorts
actually, you
there.
go, tell you what, you can receipts for everything, no external income, no investments, no nothing like that. And you go,
Mm,
actually, because 93,000, if you can't live on that, you're doing something wrong.
yeah.
And
Because
the whole concept of when I go, oh yeah, I've employed my children and my wife to do this. No, just no. It's that
just like
open book policy of this is yeah.
in the States, there's lots of things at the moment about senators, whatever it is, benefit off stocks and shares. And there's a tracker
Mm.
Twitter account that follows Nancy Pelosi's trading, and it's just open because you can find it. And the person who's running the Twitter account they're saying how much money they've actually made in a year just following what she's investing in, because she's got an inside track into what's going on, and it's crazy
Mm.
money. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars a month that is just flying
Yeah.
about because they kind of know what's going on, and I bet the same happens over
Yeah.
here as well.
Yeah.
Yes, so new blood, I think, is a good thing.
Mm.
Political beliefs notwithstanding, it'll shake things up a little bit, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens over the next 2 years, let alone the next 4.
Yeah. Because I know that I've seen like tweets and posts with like Farage going, "Oh, if you're in climate change or DEI, basically
Oh
find
yeah,
a new job,"
and
and
there's
you just
lots of
go, mm,
because he want they one of their first things that all the councils are doing is bringing in auditors, which ironically is going to cost
mm,
money to audit what all these councils are spending their money on, which again I don't see as a bad thing, because if there's
Mm.
wastage, let's get it fixed and get it put where
But
money's put.
councils are audited, aren't they?
Well, that's it, and you don't know. But then it's, are they audit, having done audits? Are they audited on what the council wants them to look at, or are they truly independent in
Mm.
the sense that they will come in and look at everything, or do they say, "Oh no, I want you to audit this today"? I think when they say audit in inverted commas, this is just getting someone
Mm.
independent in to go, where are we spending? That's it's like an Elon Musk thing, not to that extent, but it's getting someone independent in saying, you've got free reign, come in and tell us what we're spending our money on. Because if you drill down with all the Doge stuff and get past all the politics, some of the stuff that they were discovering, the legitimate stuff, is crazy. I was watching a video the other day, or some Fox News, I've forgotten about it,
Mm.
where they discovered that mine in the US that had all the paper documents of all governmental employees. And when someone wants to retire, they have to manually write out all their retirement stuff and work out by hand, calculate salaries and stuff. And then all these paperwork goes into this mine and they store it in a mine. And this has all come to light as part of the Doge. You just go, bloody hell.
Is
It's the
that just the
system.
archaic American system, though?
Oh yeah, but it's kind of,
Mm.
there's an example. But yeah, in some ways, get someone in to look at the money is fine. But
Mm.
it'd just be interesting to see what Farage does now, because Reform, with just 4 MPs, has already got rid of one through infighting. How are they now going to deal with the egos and the power of multiple mayors, multiple big councils, on the backbone of a party that I don't think has even now adapted since last year? Yes, they've got lots of new members, but you hear all sorts of horror stories about NDAs and all
Mm.
sorts of things. I don't think they're in a position to deal with it all yet. They will be, but how
Mm.
fast can they move to get to a point where they're not just
Yeah.
flailing?
And again, if they do anything too horrific, like councils have a important and valid job, and if
Mm.
they just kibosh that, they're going to cause all sorts of problems.
Yeah, because it's already
And you
it's
just
already
think,
falling
yeah.
apart now. So I don't know.
Well, I know like local government reform is coming, and there's talk of like merged councils
Well,
and
that's well, lots of
devolution and all sorts.
those
Yeah.
elections got cancelled, didn't they, all around London because of that?
Mm.
Because the
Yeah.
Labour and the
God
Conservatives
knows.
cancelled a lot, didn't they? And then Farage was crying foul, saying, "Well, you know you're going to lose, and now you've
Mm.
cancelled them, or postponed them," is the right phrase.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun, 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 fun. I know, like the map you showed me that said if this translated into a general election, I went, Jesus
It was
wept.
all
It was
turquoise.
reform. Yeah, it was all reform everywhere,
Yeah,
and it just sends a cold shiver down your spine, and you go, Jesus wept.
mm.
But we joked and said, what did we say? Within 5 years, he was going to be leader of the opposition, and within
It
10,
might even
prime
be, yeah.
minister.
Well, it might even be less than that now, because it's the Tories are just falling apart, and I don't.
Mm,
But Badenoch won't be there much longer. I think that they'll
no.
push her out. The Labour, unless they can change something, because he was spouting off yesterday. Oh, we need to do more with change. No, you need to sort out. The change you're doing is the change that no one likes, and it's the winter fuel
Mm,
payment, it's the PIP payment, it's net zero, it's all this stuff that people don't agree with, that they're just pushing through, thinking that's what we want. I don't think we do want most of that. And then there's all the gaffes and all this, the sort of PR disaster with two-tier Keir and all that stuff. It's all
mm,
just layering on top, and it's just one thing after another. They just you look at them and you think they're a bit. It seems like they're oblivious to what's going on, and
yeah.
hopefully this is a bit of a wake up call to go. Maybe you need, because it's really interesting how all the interviews with Labour people yesterday were talking about reform, not talking about Conservatives, and it's just like, wow, that's
Mm,
really interesting that they see them as the threat now, and the Tories see
yeah.
them as the threat to basically it would make them extinct if the way it goes like
Yeah.
that. Interesting.
It's going to be interesting times, as the old proverb goes. Just, I don't like any of it because well, this is well. Actually, I think this leads us almost nicely into today's Doctor Who episode with the
Yes.
whole concept of populism and news and all
Interesting.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
So, yes, lucky day. Lucky day.
yes, lucky day. A question for you: was it my
Mm.
imagination, or the place that the Doctor and Belinda landed, was that the same place when 15 landed originally in
Oh.
London? Because I looked at it, I've seen this before. I've seen this archway. I know this place, but he
Yeah.
landed on the other side of the street.
It must have been.
I'm sure
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, I won't be surprised. Hmm.
Yeah, somewhere hidden away and out of the way, and you go, "Oh, lovely."
So it was a Doctor
Yeah,
Who light
it's in a
episode,
different.
wasn't it, today?
Yes.
Which was interesting. I
Yeah.
was the way they spun it in the trailer. You didn't think it was going to be a light episode, but it was, and
Mm.
actually, it solved the problem we were having because I was listening to the edit today about how they're going to do the timey-wimey stuff being on Earth, and they did it really well because the Doctor wasn't there, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. And even when he was there, he wasn't there.
Yeah, because
If
on
that
his
makes sense.
timeline,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
that whole. We're going to jump around here, but the whole concept of why did he need to find Belinda was solved because it was that conversation. So it was that paradox thing, the bootstrap
Mm.
paradox is why did he go and see Belinda? Because Conrad told him to go see Belinda because they met him, and it was just that whole sort of circle. So that was a nice little
Yeah.
timey-wimey thing at the end.
Yeah. So before we get into the meat of it, first impression, what do you think?
It's an interesting one, this one. I watched it this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and as I've thought about it during the day, it's kind of a bit like a fine wine. It's mellowed a little bit. To start with, it was a little bit like, where I don't know, but I think overall I liked it. I think I'll go with that. Overall, I liked it. Wasn't as good as last week, but it was
No,
interesting. I think is probably the right. It was interesting and different.
I really liked it again.
Ah,
Again,
good.
not as good as last week's, but I went, this is 2 episodes in a row that I haven't hated what is going on. And I think the concept of the monster was quite good, and how that then creates a trail where you can go, oh yes, why would this person trigger all the things that happened? And the whole, I went, oh yeah. And then like you go, well, why are you such an idiot? And then you go, oh, of course you're an idiot. That's what makes sense. And just the whole flipping on a dime kind of thing. Of yep, you go, oh, and yeah, I went, oh yes, this is very modern, but
That's
it was
probably
very modern, but also very old.
modern was probably the best way to describe it in a way.
Mm,
In some respects, because it was less about aliens and more just about normal people. There was no
yeah,
real
and
alien.
actually,
Yeah, sorry, go on.
well, other than yeah, well, it's a classic of if the Doctor existed in this universe and an organisation such as UNIT existed, I think actually nail hit on head, because you'd be going, oh no, it's all garbage, it's all special effects. Because let's face it, if people think COVID was a myth and the moon landing didn't happen and stuff, yeah, really,
No,
guys,
they
uh,
didn't. They didn't
yeah,
happen. It was just. It's just a set in in the desert. We all know that. Don't go down a different
oh,
podcast now. And the Earth's just
no, Tim,
uh,
no,
and the Earth's just flat. I mean, come on.
oh no, don't do this to me. Oh
Look on your
god,
face. Yeah, no, you can
yeah,
understand
look, oh no,
how there are people that believe whatever they want to believe, and you could see how that
yeah,
the distrust of government fed into all that
yeah,
big time. Because I suppose I was trying to work out in my brain in this universe of Doctor Who, UNIT is because they mentioned Geneva. It's not a private organisation, is it? They mentioned it in passing and they were talking really quickly and I
yeah.
missed it. The
It's like a
concept of how
UN kind of
but
concepty thing,
it's
isn't
not
it?
a governmental organisation. It's separate from the
No.
government, but it's international rather than national.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, something like the UN would be quite a good equivalent to, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
But it's that sort of, it's funded by everybody because let's face it, it's worldwide,
yeah, yeah,
and yeah, and the whole idea of someone like interacting with the doc when they're like a youngster, and then that becoming part of them, and then taking the alternate version of, well, it's just all garbage and I hate it all and it's all, yeah. I
yes,
went, ooh,
yeah.
yeah, I quite
They
like
met
it.
the yeah the how we should go through it. Let's talk about Conrad first, because
Mm,
this was the interesting thing that I liked. Is you're right. He met the Doctor as a child, and everyone else who
yeah.
meets Doctor has a magical life and stuff like that. But his life was ruined by it.
Mm,
Not ruined. It was still. It was. It went the wrong way. So his interaction with the Doctor made him cynical and skeptical and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't a nice
mm,
transformation. It was a negative one. So that was good. I think
yeah,
it shows that not everyone has a nice experience. Like you said, the twist was done really nice. I didn't see that coming
yeah.
at all. And actually, when you look back on it, it makes sense because I thought when they sat down in the because obviously I was completely hooked with he's been bitten. This thing's now following him. There's probably two of them,
Mm,
etc. etc. So when they sat down in the pub with all the friends in inverted commas, and obviously the guy had the electrical hat on, I thought, oh, that's because he's obviously going to have to go and fix the electricity and he's going to get eaten. And then so and behold, but actually no, he was there
mm,
because he was making the electricity go weird. And so you can sort of see looking back the little clues that were there. But no, Conrad
yeah.
as a character, was done really well.
Mm,
Question, and this is I can't think of one. Can you think of in Doctor Who, new, old, whatever, a reoccurring villain who is just human. Nothing special, is just a human, like a Lex Luthor kind of thing. Apart from the one that was in a couple of the 13 episodes, but we don't talk about it anymore because he did naughty stuff in real life, I can't think of any human character that's been a reoccurring villain. They're always the Master or Davros or
mm,
whatever. I can't think of a human. And I just thought, obviously, it was left open ended at the end. We don't know if he's going to come back in this
yeah.
series. We don't know if there's going to be a next series, or we talked about that before. But to have a reoccurring villain who is nothing special, is just a human, I think would be really cool and different
Mm.
that we've never had before.
Well, it's the Superman villain again, isn't it?
Mm,
If you
yeah,
have someone who can travel in time, who's, you just have, here's Joe Bloggs, and it is
yeah.
the opposite, the
And
polar
he's
opposite.
and
Yeah.
I just saw that when she obviously let him out. Now I don't know if he's going to come back at the end. He might well do. You never know. Or if it's
Mm,
just left open ended where she's released him. Is obviously we're not going to get another series probably, but it would be nice to have a
mm.
Lex Luthor style person who is just purely not super at all, but has the ability to get under his
And
skin.
yeah, and the fact that like when he's talking to him, he just this complete non-belief. You're going, oh yeah, cool, special effects. It's all this. You go, mate. You're being shown evidence. You've been transported to the bloody
Yeah,
TARDIS for God's sake,
he didn't
and you were
flinch.
unfazed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even he saw it, and it's as if his arrogance
yeah,
was kind of shielding him for it. This was the bit that kind of part of it was the bit that matured during the day. That actually I thought yeah, with a little bit of development, he could become quite a good reoccurring villain because he
mm,
was just a nasty person. And
yeah. And I think
originally,
that's the nice thing. He felt real because
yes, yeah,
it's a classic. Actually, he is faking the whole boyfriend lovey dovey, and you go, oh, that's really sweet and cute, and you can see from her point, you go, oh, this is really nice, and then suddenly he just flips it, and you go, Jesus Christ,
yeah.
and that emotional jarring, you go, oh, that's a good
Oh,
impact. I
yeah.
like
That's
that.
the exact the
Yeah,
reaction when that
yeah, yeah,
reveal came. I just went,
yeah,
audibly went, ooh. And obviously, my son was watching. I
mm,
had to explain what was going on. And I actually thought,
yeah,
and they didn't do it, which in hindsight was a good thing. I thought there was going to be a big thing about him being hunted by the real. Screech, wasn't it? Screech, the little things.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he would then have to get the doctor. I was expecting the doctor to turn up at some point
Mm,
at that point, because then he was about halfway through, wasn't it? I was expecting him to ask that he was going to have to ask for their help in a weird kind of
yeah.
what's the word,
What?
redemption arc, but it didn't happen.
Yes.
He just got worse and worse as the episode went along.
Well, I think what, like, when I was watching it, when she gave him the antidote and he doesn't drink it, I went,
Yes.
wait a minute. You just go, I know. And then when he appears behind him with a bat, he's going, I don't like this. There is something fundamentally wrong here that is jarring me. And I went,
Yeah,
I know it's coming, but I don't know how it's coming.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
hadn't
I went,
noticed that
he is
actually.
making me uncomfortable, but I don't know how it's going to. I'm thinking, like, is he their master? Is he like the boss or something? And then when he does the whole, I'm a YouTuber, and you go, oh no, you're the worst.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was expecting that him to be good at the end and to kind of feel sorry, but
Mm,
no, that he just kept going and he just got worse
yeah,
and worse. And actually, in some
yeah,
ways, that was better because it was
yeah,
just a nasty person rather than being some super
yeah.
powerful alien. He was
Mm.
just a
And I
nasty
think
individual.
that had more impact because, like you said, it's just a bloke
Mm.
being the worst.
Yeah. Talk about the YouTube a bit in a minute.
Ruby.
Ruby. Interesting. Uh, I liked.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Go. No, before we
I
go on, I
liked
have a
you
thought
got a.
ready.
Oh, have I missed it? Was she working for Unit, or am I just imagining that she
No,
was? No.
no. What she was. I well, from my watching, she was just a bod. But obviously, she's got Unit's
Yeah.
phone
Yeah.
number
Okay.
and
Yeah.
was
So.
linked to them because, like, Kate was mum number three.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I wasn't sure she was or not. So I got. I liked the fact that you, because this was literally just after she'd been with the doctor. So
yeah.
she had the kind of. She was still coming down from what she'd been through. A little bit of frustration that she chose to leave, but in some of these scenes, it was kind of implying as if she was waiting for him to come back, but it was actually her choice. That bit kind of jarred a little bit. It's like, well, no, actually, they made a big thing about her leaving, and yet, especially the comments at the end, she was kind of as if she was waiting for the doctor to come back. Well, no, that's not what he had. But anyway, but yeah, I like the fact that she was obviously emotionally kind of still very vulnerable, and so the whole thing with the
Mm,
boyfriend thing made it even more random. I thought, in some ways, the concept of her talking about the doctor in a podcast, I know it obviously changed, was a bit weird because you thought Unit would shut that down. I thought that was a bit. I know they had to get
I
to that
think.
point,
Yeah.
so that
But I
was a
think
bit odd.
also the whole idea of her just going, I can only say certain things because obviously the human race as an entity has seen him save them every
Yeah,
Christmas kind of thing.
and
So
it's
it's the concept of this person. Like, what was the Absorbaloff episode? Linda.
mm,
So there are little fan clubs and
yeah,
entities that
and
exist, and you go, yeah. So actually, podcast and
it's
makes
kind of the
sense.
like the running joke in Doctor
Yeah.
Who in New Who that everyone forgets about stuff that's happened, and like you had the stuff with
Mm,
Wilf, didn't you? Talk about the aliens last Christmas and stuff like that, and everyone kind of just forgets and gets on with life. So yeah, no,
yeah.
there's little things that are kind of like okay, but the concept of her, yeah, it was, you could see how vulnerable she was,
Mm,
and that was little bits with the family feeding into it, and the concept of she hasn't spoke about the doctor once, and it was building to that scene, but I didn't see any of the clues. I was just completely clueless because I was you were
yeah.
you were expecting the monster, you were expecting a standard like Doctor Who paint by numbers episode, monster of the week, monsters hunting him, she's got to save him, the doctor's going to come and save them. So kudos to the
Yeah.
writing for subverting the expectations and completely changing it, whilst also putting
Yeah.
the clues out there for people who, unlike me, who didn't spot them.
Yeah. Whereas I think I was, because I was watching it, I went, right, there's something is happening here because it it didn't make sense to be Monster of the Week because it was a Doctor Light. You go, you've got to fix this without the Doctor involved. So a monster
Mm,
can't be the
I
monster.
just I just assumed Unit was going to get involved, and
Yeah.
it would just be a whole kind of Ruby saving the day kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think Ruby being a bit basically PTSD.
Yeah, she mentioned it, didn't she? Yeah.
And like you said, like broken, vulnerable, and you think, well, yeah, how does a standard person go from I've just fought the god of death to I'm working in a shop?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's always
the mental jarring you would have, that would be like some deep scarring. You just go, geez, yeah, it's the day after.
yeah.
Yeah, you've left, cool, but what about tomorrow?
And I think that's
You
the thing
wake
that
up and go, what?
even Chibnall did well, but also all of New Who did well, have done well with companions post Doctor. I think they've addressed it in their own little way, and it's been nice that whenever he's checked in with the others. So they always seem to do that very well, and that yeah, again, it was a nice thing. Uh,
Unit.
yeah, unit. Yeah, it's interesting. The I think once you got the reveal and you had the kind of fallout, this going back to what we said before, this episode would have benefited for being an hour, I
Mm,
think, because you could have extended the relationship at the start a bit and made it a bit more tangible. So, and also you could have extended the impact of the fallout a bit more, because it felt for me that once it was revealed, and then there was the little releasing of people's addresses, which we know was that guy who was doing the inside thing. That was a little bit unbelievable, because I thought if anything in real world was done like that, it would have got locked down a lot quicker. But anyway, but you that bit felt like rushed. We went from big reveal to he shot someone in the stairwell very quickly, and it escalated too fast, I
mm,
think, for me in some respects. It was, and also that, I don't know, I like the Conrad character, but him shooting someone even by accident, and the way he was using that gun, like, because me and my son said he said he's a YouTuber. How can he shoot a gun like that? And it felt a little bit unbelievable. Okay, he might be a marksman. We don't know that, but it just like he was using that gun very expertly, shooting at that.
comfortably, yeah,
Yeah, and it just felt
yeah.
a little bit out of character. And I think the escalation at the end where she set the thing on him was good, but it felt,
Mm,
I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. It felt odd. The whole thing where she got angry. I think it was supposed to convey that with the Doctor not there, Unit will do what needs to be done to get things done.
yeah.
But wasn't
Well,
he
it
filming
was
all
the
that
lot.
and
Yeah, he
stuff?
was
And it
live
was a bit,
streaming it.
it was
Yeah,
weird. It felt like, well, if I was watching that live stream, it would only confirm what he's been telling me. But then they're saying afterwards, it didn't feel right. And it felt a little bit disjointed. I can't think of
my
that phrase.
putting my critic hat on for a second.
Yeah, this is kind of
Units
way.
with the tech they have. I'm sorry, you're not live streaming it from that building. I don't care who
Exactly.
you are. Yeah,
Because they did it with the
unless they
toy
want
maker,
you
didn't
to.
they?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
toy maker, and about all that kind of stuff. It just felt, I don't know, it
yeah.
felt like Unit all the way through this episode rolled over, and you know what they like. And in the real world, if this was MI5, the guy, they would have shot him. He wouldn't even got that far. They would have been shot, and it would have been the
Mm.
end of it. It's a security risk, and okay,
Well,
it's
yeah.
got me for the
You would
story,
you would
but
have been you're in the building. We are closing the elevator, and the elevator had never been seen again.
hmm.
That's
Or you'd
it.
have walked in there
Yeah,
and
yeah,
uh, what's the face? Kate's boyfriend would have shot him in the head, and that would have been the end
yeah,
of it, and it would have been done.
yeah. It would have
But
been
obviously,
done.
it's a
Yeah,
story, and they got to,
and the footage would have never ever been seen.
yeah, it would have been scrubbed, and you
Yeah,
wouldn't do anything about it, and anyone else
but
related to
again,
his YouTube channel would have gone.
yeah, yeah. I thought it was quite interesting when like they say, "Oh, what if the doctor was here?" And when Kate just turned around and goes, "You're glad he's not because he would have stopped me," and you just go, "Oh hell, she's about to go
And
biblical on him."
then
And like
when she,
insulting the brigadier and you go, "Oh,
oh
mate, you have
yeah,
made an error up. You're
yeah,
just gonna
because
get shot. She's just gonna shoot you."
the ripples across fandom, like, oh, you can't say that about the Brigadier. Oh, I
What
don't
did
know.
you think of? What did you think of Mrs. Flood? I'm bored of Mrs. Flood.
Yeah, getting bored of it now. It's like what's the face twist at the end. Mrs. the twist, Susan
Yeah,
Twist. Like, it's becoming repetitive, and
yeah,
it's becoming Doctor Who season 2 Torchwood, where the first season Bad Wolves was
Yes.
spread around, really clever, and the next episode everyone mentions
Yeah.
Torchwood every week. It's becoming boring, and it's always happening at the end, and it's like, well, yeah, we get that. And the only good bit about it was what I said earlier. Has she released him for a purpose, or is that just open-ended and we might see him again, we might not? But
And depending on who she's revealed to be,
well,
the releasing of him might completely jar with that as well. Who knows?
yeah. So yeah, no, it's becoming boring now because we were expecting it. It's when you don't expect it, and it becomes like when she was in the first series, and when she popped up at the start of this series, that was quite neat. But they should have left a few episodes without her in it, and then she just pops up again. That would have been better. But it's every episode, always at the end as well. It's always at the end, and it's just like, yeah, I get sick of it now.
Yeah.
He didn't cry. The Doctor did not cry in this episode. Suddenly,
he wasn't in it long enough.
But it still counts. We broke the duck of not crying.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Doctor, this was the bit that had to mature for me properly, was his speech at the end. So obviously we talked about Conrad as being very arrogant. Like, initially I thought, oh, here we go, the sledgehammer's out and they're having a pop at right-wing YouTubers and stuff. And it was a little bit not very subtle. But then after I thought about it, I thought, actually, no. Understanding the people who were writing this and going back to when before Doctor Who was unsubtle and really in your face, it did comment on like society today and so I kind of let it off that it was making a comment about society. It wasn't necessarily like RAP Doctor Who popped up. That was a direct dig at people who don't like the show. This was more a commentary on society in general. I kind of thought, okay, it was a little bit like it was like half a sledgehammer. It could have been a lot worse, but I let it off because it's a social commentary rather than a focused attack on a group of people.
Yeah, it was a hammer to crack a nut. It was not a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
No,
and
which
actually,
is
it was
what
a
we've had
nutcracker
before.
to crack a nut.
Yeah,
I think is what was quite nice.
Yes, I kind of let
like
it.
when I watched it, like when I watched it, I was just thinking, yes, this could go OTT, but I think they kept it at a level which was got the point across, but didn't step over the line that they've had a bad habit of doing for the last little while.
Because I was kind of sitting there going, oh God, here we go. And it didn't, that's what I had to think about. And I thought, actually, no, I'll let them off this time. Because actually, yes, it is a commentary on society today. And they didn't go like all in and have a go all the way through the episode. So let them off. That was him being serious. He can be serious when he wants to, but he's not Tennant level serious or Smith level serious. I don't know. And also, my son pointed out, he said, that guy's taller than him because the guy was looking down at him. So it kind of lost some of its...
Yeah.
I know, not being heightist, I'm not like 6 foot, but the way they'd shot it, he was looking up at him.
He looked small.
Yeah, he needed to have been on a position of power in the higher ground or something. It just looked a little bit odd.
But also, I think it was quite good for that because you've got him having a go, but you've then got this arrogant dickhead who is looking down on that. And I'm thinking, actually, do you know what? If he had been like towering over him, I think it would have taken something away from Conrad because he just stood over, just going, "What are you going to do about it? Throw me into a time vortex? Yeah, grip. It's all smoke and mirrors, mate." Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of quite machismo there about actually standing like in someone's, not backing down from someone and just taking it. Yeah, and actually, if you, again, I really do hope if they ever got a series that they build him up to be someone like who is not intimidated by the Doctor, that'd be just brilliant. A human person who is not intimidated at all, like Lex Luthor and Superman, not intimidated by the fact that he could kill him in a heartbeat. That would be brilliant TV. It'd probably never happen, but it would be really good to see. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
No, it would be good for the Doctor to have like a standard foil, not
Not an
another
alien, or
alien
a Time
super
Lord or something.
person. You just
Yeah,
go, yeah, you just go, no, it's just Bob. There you go.
and
Yeah,
a not very nice person who
yeah,
will just go to any length to win. Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
Mm.
So where are we rating this?
Scores,
Or have we talked?
scores on the doors.
Was there anything
Yeah.
else? Oh, one more thing. It was an interesting thing
Oh,
because I
oh,
remember seeing some of when they filmed that episode. There were lots of like fan photos of the people in the costumes, and everyone's going, "Oh, yeah, these aliens!" There's look, you can see all the actors in the costumes. Turns out they really were people in costumes. So it was quite a nice
yeah,
twist on the fan photo thing that they thought one thing was happening, but actually it was something else. So that was a nice little twist. I thought it was quite clever.
yeah. Love it, love it.
Yeah, sorry, yeah,
So
scores.
scores out of 10 with the standard caveat. We're going to change all these in the series anyway.
What did we give last week's one? Because I can't remember. Was it 8?
9,
9.
9.
Okay.
Yeah, because 10 is perfection.
Oh, yeah.
1 is I turned it off, even though I'm doing a podcast about it. So we had a 4 for episode 1, a
Yep.
6 for episode 2, a
Yep.
9 for episode 3. So episode 4,
8.
after
I
3.
think. Oh.
Yeah, 8.
Spoilers. Hang on. Let's pretend
After
we didn't
3,
hear that.
8. Yeah.
After 3. 1, 2, 3. 8.
8. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really good. Really good. And it's, yeah. What else more could you say?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Last week's was mwah, chef's kiss, more like that, please. But actually, this week's was just as solid, but in a different way. It wasn't as sort of clenching as last week's. But I went, do you know what? I could get behind this, like on Earth against like YouTube. Yeah, fully on board.
Yeah.
Let's go third Doctor sort of thing. And you go,
Yeah.
yes, num num num.
Yeah, it was, again, it subverted my expectations, which is always quite nice because you sit down
Yeah.
expecting one thing and halfway through you get something completely different, and I didn't see it coming.
And I think also because in last week we talked about like the writing, who the writers were, and they'd written for Whittaker's era, and we were just going, oh no, is this going to be terrible? Again, I was sat down with what's commonly known as a hate boner. I was just going, I'm going to hate every second of this. It's going to be garbage, and I went, ooh, this is good. I like it.
Yeah, because we talked about it, didn't we? It was the writer. I want to remind myself what she.
Yeah, because you'd said that they'd written loads of stuff, and then he went, "Oh no, they've written for Whittaker's era. Hopefully, it was a good one."
Yeah, let me just see who he. Wait, oh, it was. Kablam! That was the one where it was the it was the sledgehammer to crack on Amazon, basically having a pop at those kind of things, and that's why I was like, oh god. But actually, he's wrote the stuff for that spin-off thing that's coming, if it comes, as we've talked about before. So yeah. And yeah, there was one about microplastics. Bad microplastics. And that was really rubbish.
All right, Nigel.
So yeah, I don't mind being proved wrong. That was really good. I think it was it wasn't written by Russell T Davies as well. So there's a thing, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, good times.
Although I just suddenly thought of something. If last week's one was written by Russell and another lady, do you think the only reason he has got a credit is because he wrote Midnight, and it was a concept born out of that, and she wrote the rest of it? Because then that would mean that episode was really good and he didn't write it. So if we take that as true, the last 2 episodes that we really liked have not been written by him.
Okay, I like that thinking. So next week's episode is written by.
Oh, this is the one that's written by the guy who has publicly said that it's all to do with it's a social commentary on migrants and society and stuff like that. It looks good, but I'm worried it's going to be
Oh
a
God.
politically motivated one. The trailer looks great, but
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to go and how obvious it's going to be. And then the one after is written by Juno Dawson, who is very politically motivated. So we
That's
shall.
the Intergalactic Song Contest, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it's the final two, which is written by him. So
Yeah.
we might have peaked early, but let's walk into next week and see what it's going to be like.
Yeah. So as it stands, we started week. We're getting stronger, and we've held for 2 weeks.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Can episode 5 make it 3 in a row, or are we going to be back to Matt and Tim hate Doctor Who?
Well, you don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So we've talked politics. We've talked Doctor Who. Next time we'll talk about it again, I guess.
Yeah.
For the 5th week in a row.
Yeah.
I think we've discovered the problem. If we like an episode, we can't talk about it because we go, that was good, I liked it. Great.
Yeah.
Now what? Yeah. Like last week we went, quick, WrestleMania, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we spent more time talking about wrestling than we did about Doctor Who.
Yeah. Well, this week, Journeys in Politics was probably as long as the Doctor Who review.
Yeah, true.
But, so yes, next week, dear BBC, if you could make a really bad episode so I can just get angry about it for a whole hour, that'd be lovely.
Oh, I don't know. It looks so good. I think we're going to see another god next week, so we might be back onto that train again.
Yay! I'm bored of gods. Well, let's spend the week looking forward to it.
Yes. Rightio.
We need to learn how to end episodes better, don't we?
Yeah. On that note, don't talk to any YouTubers.
Yeah, on that note.
And we'll see you next week.
They're all evil. Bye-bye.
Bye.